All right, let's just dive right into this. Welcome to this explainer where we're going to unpack an absolutely incredible psychological framework. We're taking some pretty deep, abstract Islamic spiritual concepts and translating them into a highly actionable daily routine for your mental and spiritual health. We're literally breaking down the anatomy of human behavior, looking at exactly how our thoughts, our desires, and our conscience all interact to build our ultimate personality. If you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by modern distractions, or maybe just felt a lack of inner peace lately, you are going to find this breakdown absolutely fascinating.
We have to start with a pretty profound question. Is Allah pleased with you? Now, I know that's heavy, but it sets the stage for a deeply personal journey of self-assessment. It's not about looking outward at what everybody else is doing. It is about looking completely inward. Before we can change anything about our daily habits, we have to start with this internal check-in. It's the absolute catalyst for genuine self-improvement, asking us to evaluate our true standing and our real purpose before we get swept away by the craziness of the modern world.
So, here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll diagnose our spiritual health by looking at the signs of guidance. Then, we'll break down the core psychology of this whole framework, the three inner voices or types of nafs. And finally, we'll look at a real historical masterclass in living minimally.
Okay, starting with section 1, the signs of guidance. Let's figure out what being on the right path actually looks like.
What's really fascinating here is just how practical these signs are. True guidance isn't about being completely flawless, not at all. The first sign is constantly making dua for steadfastness, essentially asking not to be led astray once you've actually found the right path. The second sign is bouncing back immediately after you stumble. It's not about planning to mess up, but when a genuine slip-up happens, you don't let arrogance take over, you immediately turn back. And the third sign? Recognizing your own flaws. I mean, it is so easy to judge people by their outward appearance, right? But true guidance means zooming in on your own personal growth instead of pointing fingers at everyone else. There's this beautiful quote that just perfectly hits the nail on the head. We are forgetful by design. In today's world, packed with internet triggers, constant notifications, and social media, we're being tested 24/7. The crucial takeaway here is that slipping up is totally human, but the hallmark of a believer is that continuous, stubborn return to the right path. When they get a reminder, they don't get defensive, they just accept it and recalibrate. Moving right along to section 2, the types of human nafs, or the spiritual anatomy of the soul. We're going to break down 3 very distinct internal states. First up, we have nafs al-lawama. Think of this as your living, breathing conscience. It's that internal voice screaming, don't do it. When you see injustice happening, or you're tempted to cut corners, this is the literal alarm bell ringing in your head. As long as this self-reproaching soul is active, your humanity is intact. But if this conscience dies, well, a person can become entirely numb to the pain of others. The second state we need to talk about is nafs al-mutma'inna. This is the ultimate goal, guys. It's the state of profound, soulful peace and true internal satisfaction. It's the highest level of self-fulfillment you can reach. When you're in this state, you are entirely at peace with yourself and everything around you, completely free from the exhausting anxiety of endless worldly competition. And finally, we have nafs al-amara. The best way to describe this one? It's a wild horse. It's the raw, unfiltered part of us that commands towards selfish desires and toxic habits. The rule is incredibly simple. If you tame this wild horse, it becomes your greatest servant. But if you let it run unchecked, it will absolutely take over and destroy you. And let's be real, modern society is basically designed to constantly trigger this exact state. So how do we practically grow that first soul, our conscience? A lot of today's media completely lacks moral depth, which just numbs our brains. To fight back, we literally have to swap out mindless entertainment for thought-provoking media, read engaging literature, watch films with actual purpose. And a huge recommendation here, read and genuinely ponder over the 30th juz of the Quran every single day. Its themes are heavily focused on accountability, and it works wonders for waking up that inner conscience. It's wild when you look at the contrast here. Modern society is obsessed with selling us temporary dopamine hits, scoring high in a video game, getting a bunch of likes on social media. But true peace, that nafs mutmainna we talked about, that only comes from selfless acts. There's a deep, unmatched serenity that you get from just buying a few boxes of biryani and handing them out to hungry folks on the street, or just sitting with your parents and asking how you can help them out today. True peace is found in giving, not consuming.
Now, what about dealing with that wild horse, nafs amara? Look at this incredibly powerful quote from Prophet Yusuf. When he was faced with a massively tempting and toxic environment, he basically said, look, I'd rather be in prison than give in to this. It's the ultimate strategy for avoiding severe temptation. Sometimes you can't just sit there and fight it. You have to be willing to drastically change your environment to protect your soul. Because today's digital landscape is practically engineered by experts to activate our wildest desires, taming that horse requires actual physical escape routes. You literally have to run away from your triggers. If your laptop is the problem late at night, close it, leave the room. Stop hanging out in specific malls or cafes if you know they're just going to trigger bad habits. Channel all that raw energy into physical exercise instead. And most importantly, when you feel totally overwhelmed by that wild horse, pray sincerely for an escape route, and I promise you, one will open up. Let's move into our third and final section, living a purposeful, minimalist life. We're going to look at a stunning historical case study that proves mastering yourself is the ultimate freedom.
I want you to picture this unbelievable moment in history. The Caliph Hazrat Omar arrives in Damascus. He's the most powerful man in the region, yet he arrives sharing a single camel with his servant. He then goes to visit his powerful governor, Abu Ubaidah. Now, he's expecting to see a grand, luxurious palace, right? Instead, he walks into a completely bare room. Nothing but a simple mat on the floor and a bow hanging on the wall. And they sit down together to share a meal of just dry bread, dates, and water. When Hazrat Umar saw this, he was moved to tears, and he said something absolutely unforgettable. The world has changed all of us, except you. Just let that sink in. It highlights the immense power of internal mastery. Abu Ubaidah had so completely tamed his inner desires that he was totally immune to the corrupting, materialistic pressures of the world, even while holding a position of immense wealth and power. This story is the absolute perfect definition of zuhd, or Islamic minimalism. It's all about prioritizing your true purpose way above your possessions. And it's funny, we actually see a modern parallel to this today. Look at tech billionaires adopting extreme minimalism, wearing the exact same simple t-shirt and jeans every single day just to reduce decision fatigue. The core principle is exactly the same. Clearing out physical clutter and rejecting endless consumerism is absolutely essential for keeping your spiritual focus sharp and keeping that wild horse in check. So as we wrap up this explainer today, we've covered a lot. We've looked at the signs of a guided heart, those three distinct voices battling it out inside our heads, and the true power of a minimalist, purpose-driven life. I want to leave you with one final thought to really ponder today. Take a hard look at your daily routines. Which modern attachments or digital triggers are secretly acting as the wild horse in your life right now? And more importantly, what exact steps are you going to take today to grab those reins back and finally find your true peace? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I hope this framework helps you master your own inner world.